The story of Narcissus, the beautiful young man in Greek mythology who fell in love with his own reflection and ultimately drowned pursuing it, has long symbolized excessive self-admiration. In Ovid's Metamorphoses, Narcissus rejects the nymph Echo, becomes captivated by his image in a pool, and meets his demise. A flower, the narcissus, blooms where he dies, representing beauty tied to tragedy. This ancient tale captures the essence of narcissism, an excessive, sometimes harmful self-absorption, prioritizing oneself above all. In modern psychology, narcissism extends beyond vanity or self-love. It is a complex set of personality traits, often manifesting as grandiose self-image and arrogance. Narcissists, to varying degrees, view themselves as superior in appearance, intelligence, or importance, believing they deserve special treatment. This psychological definition, grounded in clinical observation, distinguishes narcissism from ordinary selfishness. Psychologists recognize it as a spectrum, ranging from adaptive traits, like healthy confidence, to maladaptive ones, like destructive behavior. The term narcissism emerged in psychoanalysis through Sigmund Freud's 1914 essay on Narcissism, an introduction, where he described primary narcissism, infantile self-love, and secondary narcissism, withdrawing affection from others to oneself. Today, it encompasses two main forms as personality traits: grandiose and vulnerable narcissism, and an extreme variant, narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. Understanding narcissism is crucial as it impacts relationships, leadership, and social dynamics. This analysis draws on historical, clinical, and cultural perspectives for a comprehensive view.
Narcissism affects about 1 to 2% of the population as a disorder, more prevalent in men, and is only diagnosed in adults due to developmental overlaps in adolescence. Reported narcissistic traits have risen since the 1970s, coinciding with cultural shifts toward individualism and self-promotion. This article explores its definition, types, causes, symptoms, diagnosis, impacts, and treatments for a thorough understanding. Definition of narcissism. Psychological foundations. Psychologically, narcissism is characterized by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. It is not merely arrogance, but a structural deficit and personality development.
Otto Kernberg's object relations theory suggests narcissism stems from a failure to integrate good and bad self-representations, leading to a splitting defense mechanism, where the self is idealized while others are devalued. Freud's early work laid the foundation, but the modern definition derives from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which classifies NPD within Cluster B personality disorders. Traits include a grandiose sense of self, fantasies of unlimited success, belief in uniqueness, excessive need for admiration, entitlement, exploitative relationships, lack of empathy, envy, and arrogant behavior. These must cause significant impairment to qualify as a disorder. Narcissism exists on a spectrum. At one end, adaptive narcissism drives ambition and resilience. At the other, pathological forms lead to dysfunction. Keith Campbell, in his TED Talk on the psychology of narcissism, describes it as a trade-off. Narcissists may achieve short-term success but struggle in long-term relationships. Recent studies highlight its multidimensional nature, including agentic aspects, self-promotion, and antagonistic ones, exploiting others. Types of narcissism: grandiose, vulnerable, and beyond. Psychologists categorize two primary trait forms, grandiose and vulnerable narcissism, with NPD as the extreme clinical variant. Grandiose narcissism. Grandiose narcissism is the stereotypical, extroverted, dominant, and attention-seeking form. Individuals pursue power and status, often as politicians, celebrities, or leaders. They exhibit high self-esteem, overestimate abilities, and aggressively seek admiration. Positive pursuits, like self-improvement, may drive them, but status often trumps altruism. Historical examples include figures like Napoleon, whose ambition fueled conquests but led to downfall. In modern contexts, grandiose narcissists thrive in competitive settings but make risky decisions, such as unethical business practices. Research shows they display overt behaviors like boasting and dominance, contrasting with vulnerable narcissism. Vulnerable narcissism. Vulnerable narcissists are introverted, reserved, and hypersensitive to criticism. They harbor entitlement but feel threatened, leading to resentment and withdrawal. Low self-esteem underlies their defensiveness. They may appear shy but inwardly seethe with envy. For instance, a vulnerable narcissist might avoid social interactions fearing rejection, but resent others' success. Studies distinguish them from grandiose narcissists through neuroticism and hypersensitivity.
They can be equally harmful, often displaying passive-aggressive behavior. Narcissistic personality disorder. NPD affects 1 to 2% of adults, predominantly men. It involves pervasive grandiosity, lack of empathy, and entitlement, causing significant distress or impairment. Unlike traits, the disorder dominates life, leading to exploitative relationships and ethical lapses. Subtypes include malignant narcissism, marked by aggression, and communal narcissism, self-promotion through altruism. Kernberg's model places NPD on a spectrum with malignant narcissism and psychopathy, where hostility escalates from splitting to exploitation. Other variants include overt, grandiose, covert, and antagonistic narcissism, exploitative. Recent X discussions highlight NPD's relational impact, with users sharing experiences of manipulation.
Causes of narcissism: genetics, environment, and culture. Narcissism's origins are multifaceted, involving genetic, environmental, and cultural factors. Genetic influences. Twin studies indicate a strong genetic component, with 40 to 60% heritability for narcissistic traits. Specific genes remain unidentified, but links to brain structure, like reduced gray matter in empathy-related regions, suggest a biological basis. Behavioral genetics show intrapersonal aspects, grandiosity, and interpersonal ones, entitlement, are heritable. Environmental factors. Childhood experiences are critical. Overindulgent parenting fosters grandiose narcissism by placing children on a pedestal, while cold, controlling parenting contributes to vulnerable narcissism. Parentification, children caring for parents, or neglect disrupts self-development, leading to stunted emotional maturity. Adverse childhood experiences, like abuse, are linked to NPD. Cultural and societal impacts. Individualistic cultures, like in the US, amplify narcissism through self-esteem movements and materialism. Social media exacerbates it by enabling self-promotion, though it doesn't cause narcissism but amplifies it. Studies link platform use to narcissistic traits, with users seeking validation through likes and followers. Western emphasis on success correlates with higher rates. Gene-environment interactions are key. For example, genetic predispositions may activate in abusive settings. Symptoms and traits: the dark side of narcissism. Narcissistic symptoms manifest in relationships and internally, often harming others. Core DSM-5 symptoms include grandiosity, empathy deficits, entitlement, and need for admiration. Narcissists exaggerate achievements, fantasize about power, believe in their superiority, exploit others, lack empathy, envy, and act arrogantly. Behavioral patterns include selfishness, dishonesty, and resentment when challenged. In relationships, they use partners for admiration, ignoring others' needs. Leaders may take unethical risks. The dark triad overlap, narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, involves manipulation and empathy deficits. Gaslighting and psychological manipulation maintain their facade. Recent X posts describe narcissists' fear of rejection and need for control. Diagnosis, challenges, and criteria. Diagnosis relies on DSM-5 criteria, requiring 5 of 9 traits causing impairment. Differential diagnoses include bipolar disorder, substance abuse, or depression. Challenges include narcissists rarely seeking help, denying issues. Tools like the Narcissistic Personality Inventory assess traits. Its history traces from Havelock Ellis in 1898 to DSM inclusion in 1980. Impacts: relationships, leadership, and society. Narcissists face isolation. Others endure abuse. In relationships, infidelity and dishonesty are common. Leaders may inspire but risk ethical breaches. Societally, rising narcissism ties to social media, fostering entitlement. Cultural values amplify it. Fictional examples, like William Afton in FNAF, illustrate narcissistic clinging to ideals. Treatment, psychotherapy, and challenges. Treatment focuses on psychotherapy, with no medications targeting NPD directly. Approaches include psychodynamic therapy, exploring origins, cognitive behavioral therapy, challenging distortions, and mentalization-based therapy, enhancing empathy.
Effectiveness varies. Long-term therapy, 5 to 10 years, yields improvement, but motivation is low. Transference-focused therapy addresses splitting. Prognosis improves with self-reflection and compassion practice. Challenges include resistance to uncomfortable insights. Malignant types may be untreatable. Narcissism in modern context, social media and culture. Social media amplifies self-promotion opportunities correlating with narcissism. Platforms like Instagram reward validation seeking. Generational shifts show rising traits in youth. Cultural individualism fuels it, with Western societies showing higher rates. X posts link it to politics and media consumption. Case studies and real-world examples. Historical: Alexander the Great's conquests reflect grandiosity. Modern: public figures like Donald Trump display traits per mental health experts. Ex-survivor stories describe abusive cycles. Fictional: characters like Gaston in Beauty and the Beast embody grandiose narcissism. The path forward. Narcissism, from myth to disorder, reveals human vulnerabilities. Though challenging, honest reflection and therapy offer hope. Society must foster empathy to mitigate its rise. Understanding narcissism promotes healthier interactions, transforming